Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. How do you know you're channeling? Everybody does it. Everybody is a channel of some sort. Well, I'm going to tell you. Because for a long time, how many times do you just get that feeling that you know what you're supposed to do, or you're guided in a direction, or you hear a voice, and it's not, and some people hear it in an audible fashion, like you're hearing me. Some people hear it like in your head. They say you've got voices in your head. Well, yeah, you kind of do. But it depends on how you hear it. And everybody is channeling. And it's not, you can put a name on it, but that limits, because if you don't understand channeling, or you think channeling is bad, or it's the devil's work, you're going to completely negate it. And you're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. But because there are different ways of channeling. When my first exposure to what channeling was watching a woman. I sat across from this woman who, she would allow another being to enter her physical body, and they would speak through her. Her voice would change, everything. And I thought at that point, because you're told, be very careful who you allow in. Because yes, there are beings that are not of love. So they would come in, and then you're possessed or whatever. And she would tell me, and this is back when I first started my journey, and she would tell me of people that would try to channel or whatever, and they would leave their body to allow somebody else to come in, and then whoever was in was there to stay and wouldn't allow them back in. Now, I'm not saying this to scare the crap out of you. I'm telling you, be very careful. But so there is that way to channel. But then I've always said, because people will tell me, they'll be dumping their life in my lap. We're just having a conversation, and they're telling me all this stuff, and they'll get done, and they're like, I don't know why I just told you all that. I don't tell anybody that, but they've told me that. And in the process, I'm just saying whatever comes to mind. Whatever comes to my mind is what I'm saying. And it's usually something that is just out of the blue. It might not even be anything that I know of, but it's something that completely resonates with them. And it's what they need. And I've said this for years, that I'm a conduit for God, because God knows what you need. I don't. Well, that was when I came from the belief system, the old belief system where I was. When in essence, that's all channeling is you're allowing a divine being to speak to you, through you, and that's it. And for a long time, I questioned. It was like, okay, yeah, I channel. I'm kind of a channel for God, because God knows what you need. And when I do my theta healing, I step out of the way, which means I get out of my ego. I step aside and I allow God to work through me. I allow the divine energy, the creator of all that is, to work through me, because that energy knows what you need. Pam does not. And for a long time, I questioned, because you hear what I'm telling you. Everybody channels. And I'm like, but I want to do it, because you would see YouTube's people that channel. Lee Harris channels the Z's. Courtney channels 0. Other people, what was her name? I can't remember her name. Anyway, some people channel angels. It's just, and I always thought, well, I just want to tap into that. I want to do that. Why can't I do that? And it was my ego was getting in the way, because I was comparing me to them. I'm not doing it like they're doing it. Daryl Anka channels Bashar. I don't have to go into a deep trance. I don't have to, it just happens. And when I channel Jesus, I just basically do the same thing that I always do, is just close my eyes and allow me to get out of the way, and I feel that energy come in. It doesn't take long, because it's energy. They don't have to dial in from another country. They don't have to fly in on a jet. It's instantaneous. Jesus is already here. Jesus is already speaking through me when not the time comes, but as needed. Because when I do my videos, I don't script this stuff. I don't plan out ahead. Because I will tell you, yesterday I relaunched my Instagram page. So I did a quick little post of, I'm back. This is what I've been going through, da 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 da. And it was scripted. It didn't flow like this flows, because I was trying to remember what I'm supposed to say, how I'm supposed to say it. I had specific points that I wanted to get through in a timeline, in a time frame, in so many seconds. Yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm back. Okay. Bottom line, I'm back on Instagram, and I've relaunched my Facebook Gifted Touch page. So there will be more posts on there. From now on, it will just flow. Just like this. And sometimes I get to the end of the video, or like yesterday, when I was talking about the butterfly and landing on the flowers and taking the sweetness from those flowers. That's not me. That didn't come from me. That came from the divine or Jesus. Either way, it's one and the same. Because I didn't think that stuff up. So you don't have to sit and meditate. You don't have to sit and go into some deep trance. You just have to, some people do, yes. But that's what they need. I mean, some people just, I mean, it's like, I remember Lee Harris talking about the first time he heard the Z's. He was on a train or a subway or something, and he just heard a voice. He didn't sit and go into some trance. He didn't, he just heard it. And he followed the guidance that it gave him because it came from a place of love and peace. That is another huge part, is you have to make sure that whatever you're listening to is of love. Now, the way you know that is the feeling it gives you, the message it gives you. If it is anything other than love, let it go. Send it away. Because if you go back and listen to any of my channelings from Jesus, there is no judgment. There is no division. There is no limits. It's nothing but love. Unconditional love for all of you. There's no... It's like an all-encompassing energy, if that makes sense. So if there's any division, if there's any judgment, if there's anything of a negative nature, let it go. No, that is not allowed. Because that energy, and again, it depends on your headspace. What energy are you attracting into your existence? So, again, you can call it channeling, but when you get so locked down in what you know, because again, your ego only knows what it knows. If you get locked into it's got to be this way because this is the way Pam does it, or this is the way Courtney does it, or Lee, or whoever, Belinda is the lady that channels the archangels. And there's a million others that channel energies. And energies. Higher dimensional beings. We all do it in a different way. My training in theta healing basically is get out of the way and let the divine work through me. That's all I do. So in that training, it has conditioned my body to a point of, okay, I can slide. And if you watch, because when I go back and I can feel it and I can see it when I go back and watch my videos. If you watch, you can see the shift. I don't do that. It's the energy coming in. It's me coming out and the other and Jesus coming in. And usually he comes in from my left side. I exit stage right and he comes in. So it doesn't have to be that way, because I will tell you, I can be washing dishes. I can be walking. I can be doing anything. And I will get the same guidance, the same information, the same way as when I sit here and channel for you guys. It's just more, when I channel for you, it's more I don't want to say of a focused. It's more of a focused intent. Because I will tell you, when I'm like just doing whatever, it is easy for my mind to wander and get off track. Yes, the message will come through, but then I'm on to something else. Or I will still sometimes I'll question, is this really what I'm hearing? Is this really, whatever I need to hear? Or what I'm really hearing? Or am I making this shit up? So when I channel for you, it is more of an intent of, okay, this is the time, and I just get out of the way. I just completely allow Jesus to speak through me. So, and it doesn't matter. My husband, it doesn't matter who. Don't get pinned and don't get so focused on who you think you're supposed to channel. Because I never would have envisioned me channeling Jesus. I thought I was just channeling God's energy. And it's not about who you're channeling. It's the energy, it's the message. So it's who you resonate with. Because like I was going to say just a minute ago, my husband is tapped more into Mary Magdalene. He's very drawn to her. And if we've done sessions or whatever, she's there. We don't have this conversation, or have not had this conversation, but that's probably where he gets his information from, is from her. There's no right or wrong. There's no being that's better than anybody else. It doesn't matter whether you're channeling source, because ultimately all of them are source energy, just like you. So trust what comes. Don't question it, because it took me a long time to be okay with the fact that I was channeling Jesus. Because again, I don't know anybody else that does. I'm sure there are other people that channel Jesus. I don't know any. I've never watched a person on YouTube that channels Jesus. They all channel source energy. Jesus happens to be my guide. And I know this because of a hypnotherapy session I did. My hypnotherapist told me, she said, whatever I was going through at the time, she said, I don't even remember what it was, and it's a mood issue. She said, your guide is here to meet you. And I was not expecting any higher being. I expected my dad, because I was extremely close to my dad. I was expecting my grandma. I was expecting one of my grandfathers, somebody in my family that had already passed, Archangel Michael, because I know he is my guardian angel. Nope. Jesus showed up. And I was like, it completely caught me off guard. So I wasn't trying to make it happen. Completely caught me off guard. And it was the most beautiful session. I'm not going to go into all that now. I've talked about it in other videos. But that's how I know he is my guide. So it makes perfect sense that I would channel him. Anyway, you are channeling. Whether you call it channeling, you call it your intuition, you call it guidance. It doesn't have to be a specific. It doesn't have to be Source. It doesn't have to be Mary. It doesn't have to be Jesus. It doesn't have to be an archangel. It could be Buddha. It could be, I can never get that other, no offense, Yogananda. It could be any of them. It could be somebody in your family. Chances are it's probably not. But trust. When you hear that message, that's what it is. That's what you're doing. You're channeling. And no, it is not the devil's work. You know why they told you that? To keep you disconnected from Source. To keep you disconnected from your higher self. From a higher being. And to make you think you're crazy because you're hearing voices in your head. That's why it's that whole organized religion, brainwashing nonsense. That's why people question whether they're channeling. That's why people don't say, oh, well, I channel so-and-so, or I do this, or I do that. Because you've been judged for all these years as you're crazy, or you're a bad person, or you're doing the devil's work, which has been portrayed as a bad thing. And honestly, I would like to knock those people right out. They're still here in some form of energy. But that whole limiting belief nonsense, oh my God, how many lifetimes have we dealt with that bullshit? That's why they have squelched the divine feminine. That's why they used to kill women thinking they were witches. To silence this stuff. That's why they killed Jesus. Because he was teaching you how to live in your power. The powers that be at that time did not want people to know that. And they still don't want people to know that. Thank God we are past that nonsense. And it's more accepted now. People are more open about it now. So, the divine loves you. God, Source, whatever you want to call it, loves you so much and would love nothing more than to have a conversation with you. And not from a place of, God, why is this happening to me? And sometimes those things come out of my mouth and I get an answer. But just to have a conversation like you're talking to anybody. I can walk across my backyard. I can be doing whatever, just having a conversation. Yes, people would probably think I was crazy. They'd want to lock me up in a white jacket. Well, they can pucker up and kiss my butt. Because I am talking to God. I am talking to my higher self. I'm talking to Jesus. And I don't care what they think. I really don't. So, don't care what they think. Have the conversation. And be grateful. Like, like literally, I will walk across my backyard and like it's sunset when I go lock up my chickens and put my horse up and all that kind of stuff. The sunset over the mountains is absolutely stunning. I cannot tell you how many times I have the conversation with God and just like, thank you. That is so beautiful. And feel worthy of seeing this. Feel the appreciation. Feel the gratitude for being alive and experiencing this stuff. It doesn't have to be, this God, that's the other limiting belief. Is that you have to bow down and kiss somebody's feet. You have to bow down and be less than. No, you don't. You are just as powerful. You are just as holy as the divine because you are the divine. And I've said this on here before, and I know this is a tangent I'm going off on, but I'm trying to get a point through. I have said this. We've been led to believe that the angels, God, Jesus, all of them, we're less than. And they're floating around like godly, all empowered, all I'm that and a bag of chips and you're nothing and you have to be submissive to me. No, that is not the case. I can't tell you how many times Michael has made me laugh. He's funny. They have a sense of humor. They are love. They want you to be happy. Like I said, God loves you more than you can even imagine. He wants you happy. That energy wants you happy, but he's not judging you if you're not. He loves you just the same. But I can tell you, I was driving down the road one day, and one of my favorite songs came on the radio. And I am not lying. It was like I saw Michael with a guitar just jamming to this song. Like the rock concerts, rock videos, whatever. Like Van Halen or somebody like that. That is exactly what I saw Michael doing. And I just busted out. Thank God I was the only one in the car. But I busted out laughing. It was funny. It was, my God. Have fun. Stop judging yourself. Stop judging. This is the time to have fun. And stop being so damn serious. That is keeping you in a low vibration. You want heaven on earth. You want a better life. You want to be able to channel whatever. Have fun. Get out of your own way. So anyway, I send you guys so much love. If you have questions, reach out to me. Click the like button. Subscribe to my channel. If you have something that you want an answer to, ask me. Whether you ask me here or you ask me, my email is below, I think. Am I still putting my email? I don't know. Anyway, it's giftedtouch4you@gmail.com. The number 4. Reach out to me. And if I don't have the answer, I will get it for you because I know the ultimate source of every answer. And so do you. But anyway, again, just have fun. The angels, God, Jesus, Mary, all of them, Buddha, they're all here to help you, to guide you. They want you to have fun. They don't want you to be in misery. So anyway, have an amazing day, and we will talk soon.